Hello everybody and welcome to the Tiger Nexus podcast. It's been a hot fucking minute since we uploaded a episode, and I do apologise for that. Now, I'm gonna get into why. Okay, just let me cook here for a second. So, to tell the absolute truth, I kinda just felt a bit burnt out. And the reason why is because it is really hard to get guests on a podcast when you don't have a business behind you, a brand behind you, a major studio, a name behind you, or anything like that. You know, a lot of these big major podcasts have money, they have, some form of name or title. You know, a lot of these big podcasts are usually content creators that are pretty famous already, or influencers that are pretty famous already. You know, we are the Zed Hero Network. If you give it out a podcast, Neat Talk and all that, we are just solo podcasters. So it is pretty hard to get guests, and yeah, okay, I'm happy doing solo episodes. I'm cool with that. But I can only do so much. And I keep reaching out to people that I think could be like a good guest, and that is, I either get two things. One, just an instant ignore, which, okay, fine, you're human, I understand, not everyone's gonna say yeah. And then I either get a yes, but then they just never contact me, or like I'll contact them because they told me to, and I'll never get a response. And it's frustrating, man. It can be a bit frustrating. I understand, everyone's human, everyone has their own lives, jobs, their families, maybe their parents. I completely get it. I get it. But it can be rather annoying at the same time. But now I've kind of got out of my little hole that I dug. I'm out of that rut now. And we are working on kind of bringing some guests back. And we are I've been talking to Anthony, who I do, Press Start and Let's Play with, which is our video game conversation sub-series. And I'm also talking to my brother Freddie about having him on more regularly, so we can discuss different topics as well. So at least we'll get some content out there. And of course, there are some guests willing to come back. We have Hev, which was, the polyamorous couple, Hev and Tom. She's willing to come back and talk to me. Robin, the guy behind Cosmic Russ Animations, he's willing to come back. And we do have a interview coming up, which I'm really hoping does pan out, because the people that I'm talking to, there's going to be two of them. We're recording for about an hour. It takes a little while for them to get back to me, but I understand how busy they are because I'm a huge fan of them and their YouTube channel, which of course, if that does go underway, you guys will see that at some point. We have moved uploading days to Tuesdays. I spoke to Jared, the host of If You Give It Out podcast, and he kind of said that he made a very good point where he said Mondays are the days that everyone's back to work, back to school, they're busy, they don't give a flying fuck about podcasts. And I was like, that's a very good point, actually. Everyone's too busy on a Monday. And so I thought, yeah, okay, fair enough. So kind of like over time, we've all kind of shifted to a Tuesday. And I think it works better. I'm not entirely sure. But saying that, we are doing good. We are doing good. This episode mostly won't be as long as, previous solo episodes. And I'm happy to do solo episodes. It's just every now and then you do kind of need someone to talk to, hence why I'll be taking Anthony's, when he suggested or offered at least to carry on, and Freddie's offer there as well. I'm going to see if I can get the 300 Bros on at some point, because obviously they are my content creator group, which is great. But I've been okay. Life's been life, I guess. I don't talk to my family, I don't talk to my parents. I don't talk to my mother, I don't talk to my dad that often, but, I don't have family. I have friends that I have two friends that live close. One of them I don't get to see that much, which is Anthony. Anthony doesn't live that far away from me. But our seeing each other in person schedule is always a bit, I don't know, we just always run into a problem, I guess. Because scheduling, he literally lives on a farm of some kind. And obviously I have Logan, which is my son and things. So there are sometimes just conflict in scheduling. I see James, which has been on the podcast a few times. His life has been flipped upside down in so many dramatic ways. But we will be doing episodes at some point when it comes to things like talking about Marvel. We really want to talk about the live action Marvel content that's come out this year. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then, yeah, I will be having returning guests, like I said. There's a few of them that are willing to come back. I've also reached out to a few others I didn't think I'd have on again, but we'll see. You know, when it comes to being a solo podcaster like myself, again, I have no one backing me up here. I'm doing this all just for the sake of having a podcast. I love talking to people. Sometimes it happens, bro. It happens, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, what else has been going on? Well, of course, in February, I lost my TikTok account, and now I've had to restart again. We've flown through followers, man. My original TikTok account, I started in, hang on, let me just do the math here. So Logan was born 2019. I created it in 2020. Like January 2020 or something like that, right? It was literally the beginning of 2020. And when it comes to that, we're now in 2025. I lost it this February, so it was 5 years old, and we were 4,000, like almost close to 4,900, right? And that took me 5 years to do. We are almost at 2,000 already on this new one. It's not even 6 months old yet. I created it in April. The middle of April. It took me about 2 weeks to kind of get out of that rut of, oh god, I've lost my TikTok account. Do I make a TikTok account? Is there a point me making it? What do I do with this new one? I want some form of structure. And it's called Tiger Entertainment Network. You guys can check me out on TikTok. We do ramble on about a few things. I go live 3 times a week, sometimes 4. And we honestly do have a blast, and it's aimed at the Tiger Entertainment Network, which includes this podcast and all my other channels, because of course I'm the guy, as James likes to call me, I'm the Pedro Pascal of YouTubing. I do have multiple different channels, and yeah, I get so much hassle. It's so funny. I get a lot of people calling me fat and ugly, they diss me for my long hair, my painted nails, the fact that I'm a dad, the fact that I have a job, you know, they quite often go, oh my god, this guy's a dad, how about you get a job? You know, and all this shit. And it's funny because I do have a job, and I am a dad to an amazing 6-year-old, and I do make content, and I do have time, but not only that, I have a very loving, supporting system, you know. I have my fiancée, who's Nia. She's the best woman I could ask for. Logan absolutely loves the fact that I do YouTube. My friend James is always, you know, supportive of my YouTube channels. Anthony loves being in content as well. He's a creative guy. Anthony's really creative. I just feel like he's slightly autistic. He's what I would describe as mildly autistic, and he always second guesses himself, which is a shame, but he always struggles. He doesn't know what to do with himself, but he's very creative. So I feel like him being in my content, I feel like it's just kind of his way of, like, you know, doing something with his creativity, which is great. And, you know, I have all my American friends, and I have Mark, who lives in Cornwall, and, you know, everyone's supportive of what I do. And it's nice to have these people backing me up all the time, you know, when I'm cosplaying or audio dramas and there's podcasts and things. It's great. It's awesome. And the really funny thing is, you know, people waste time commenting. They don't understand that every time you comment on a video, it pushes the video up the algorithm. Think of it as like a really long ladder. And every time that you leave a comment, you're pushing that video up one step on the ladder. Or at least just helping it take a step up the ladder, because the more the video gets views and comments and likes and things, it pushes the video further out the algorithm. Imagine you cast a stone, right, and that's your video. The more it gets attention, the more ripples it'll make. And that's one thing that people don't get. So, like, I get called names all the time. I get called a paedophile pretty much every day. Nia's been threatened to be raped. Logan's been threatened to be kidnapped. I've had, threats to people to come and slash me. I got threatened the other day, actually, that all my stuff will be stolen, which I thought was quite odd, because that's actually technically happened before to me in the past. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm just a guy, man. I'm just a dude. I don't have, I work really weird hours because I'm a carer, and I look after someone. I look after an individual, which I can't go into great detail about, because obviously I'm not allowed to make their life public, because I live in the middle of nowhere. Sure, I live in Wales. I literally live between fields, mountains, back alley roads, and other villages, but doesn't mean something could happen. I could be a cause of that, so I'm not allowed to speak about shit, which people still don't understand. But, you know, I'm just a guy, I'm trying to make content. YouTube saved my life, you know, I didn't have friends growing up. You know, James was my first friend, I met him when I was 16, and so for years, YouTube was my friend. You know, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Good Mythical Morning, The Ink Tank, Dan Bull. You know, these individuals were my friends. You know, the people I grew up with and watching, they were the people that, you know, I didn't watch a lot of main TV. Like Friends, for example. Take Friends, the TV show. I didn't watch Friends properly from beginning to end until I was 17. Right? I know so many teens that were younger than 17 who have watched Friends multiple times. I didn't watch Friends I watched a few episodes here and there, but I didn't watch Friends properly from beginning to end until I was 17. You know, I didn't catch up on the Big Bang Theory until I was like 17, 18. Basically, when I met Logan's mum is when I started like watching actual TV shows. But YouTube was my life, man. And if I can be just a source of entertainment, comfort, humor, whatever the case may be, to one individual, I'm done, man. I'm happy. You know, that's my job sorted. Like, that's why I make content for, you know. I wanna give to YouTube what YouTube gave to me. I wanna be that person if I can. Whether that's my audio dramas, my vlogging, my level 5 channel where I talk about movies and TV shows and comic books and things, my gaming, you know, this now, you know, I'm cool with that. I'm down. I'm happy, you know. And the really funny thing is when people like sit there on TikTok bitching and moaning and complaining at me, I'm just there like, crack on, man. Like, if you're having such a hard time with your life that you need to at someone, you know, you need to get at someone, I'll be that for you, man. I'm cool. I'm down. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we're at the moment of recording this, we're at 1,655, and we're recording this on the 23rd of June, and I made the account in April, so that's April, May, June, April, May, hang on, if I made it in April, oh no, sorry, it was March I made it? Did I make it in March or April? I want to say it was the middle of March I made it, not middle of April, sorry. Yeah, middle of March. I apologize, it was the middle of March I made it, so call it the 16th of March, 16th of April, 16th of May, 16th of June. I've only had the account for, call it 3 months and a half, and I'm already almost at 2,000 followers. You know, I'm doing so much better than I did beforehand. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you'll never get anywhere. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it took me 5 years to get to 4,000. I'm now only at 3 months, and I've already got almost half of that, you know. So I must be doing something right? And I'm just me, man. That's literally, yeah, I paint my nails. Who the fuck cares? Yes, my hair's long. My hair's always been long. You know, yes, I have lots of different YouTube channels. I'm not hurting anyone. You know, if I was out there and I'm like, hey, you know, do cocaine, sleep with 1,000 women, even if they say, you know, you're not allowed to enter their bodies, and always hit a child, then alright, yeah, fair enough, cancel me, but I'm not saying that shit, you know, I'm just promoting my stuff. That's what the TikTok account's about. YouTube channels are doing really well. I'm loving the gaming side of things right now, because we've kind of got some structure going on, which is a lot of fun. New YouTube channels coming out, audio dramas are been a bit of a hassle, but it's been fun. I'm writing semi-what, but I've got plenty to upload, so I'm going to focus on uploading before I, you know, write more, I think. I think that's my problem. To get content out, you know, drop that shit. I think that'd be really cool. 300 Bro Studios, it's been phenomenal. We've had a blast doing that. YouTube channel is flowing. We've got only 14 subscribers, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? We're dropping videos. Most of the videos are getting over 10 views, which is great. Loving that. And we've kind of got a plan to kind of help us get into a position where we are always going to be on top of it. So in July, we're dropping 4 videos. There's 5 Tuesdays. We upload every Tuesday. We drop every Tuesday each week, and then sometimes on a Friday if we've got a bonus video for people. and there's 5 Tuesdays in July, but the middle Tuesday that week, my son comes off of school. Now, in the UK, we have summer holidays, which starts the middle of July, ends the first week of September. So those, 6 to 7 weeks are summer holidays for the kids in the UK. So they're off school for that long. So basically, that week in July, I need to record stuff and kind of backlog myself because of the fact that I have my son on and off with his mum. So the first week of July, I have him. The second week of July, she'll have him. And then the first week of August, I'll have him back. So forth, so on, rotating until September comes around. He goes back to school. And obviously, he does live for me primarily. So that week that he comes off, I'm not uploading anything. I'm just binge recording everything I possibly can. So then that first week, maybe the second week of summer holidays, the last 2 weeks of July, I'm kind of covered. So then the days that my fiance's calling me, going in my office, the nights where Logan's here and stuff, I can go in and edit and then start recording things and things like this. So in July, the 4 Tuesdays we will be uploading, I'm actually doing videos with the council members of the 300 Bros, which are 5 members. Now we have Billy from Zero to Hero. We have Jared, if you give that a podcast. We have A Crown, who's the creator of the Author's Crown YouTube channel. Cosplay Sun 637, who's obviously Cosplay Dude's son. And then we have Beauty Baba Yaga, or James, or Girl James, as I sometimes call her, because I have 2 Jameses, obviously. And all 5 of them have been on my podcast before. And they are council members. So the 4 boys that I mentioned, they're going to be in videos on the Tuesdays, which is great. That's a lot of fun. I'm loving that. Absolutely amazing. And for 3 of them, it's their first time being in actual proper YouTube videos, which is great. I'm loving that. And then throughout July, what's going to happen is, me and Cosplay Dude are going to be binge recording as much videos as possible, getting those videos, recorded in a folder, ready to upload for August. Me and Mark are also going to be doing the same. Mark's coming back. He got benched for a couple of weeks because his life was just all up in the air and he needed to sort himself out, but he's at a place now where he can come back, which is great. So let's say if I record 1 to 2 videos with Cosplay Dude in a week. Let's just say I get 2 videos done each week with Cosplay Dude in July. That's 5 weeks. That's 10 videos. And I record with Mark once a week, every week. That's 15 videos from August all the way onward, So that's fantastic. That's every Tuesday, for 15 weeks. And then I'm also going to plan on recording with the council members at the end of July if I can, or at least a couple of them sorted by, I'm going to have almost 20 videos straight. That's 20 weeks straight. That's amazing. Loving that. And so the 4 council member videos I've already recorded 2, and then this comes out tomorrow. This will be out on the 24th. So by the end of this week, I'll record the other 2. So I'm gonna have all 4 videos in July already sorted before we even hit July, which is great, which then means I can focus on TikTok content and YouTube short content. I want to go live on on the 300 Bro Studios channel, with Cosplay Dude, maybe Mark, that'd be great. And yeah, it'll be a blast of the time. We've also got another 300 Bro channel coming out soon as well, called the 300 Bros Audio Library, which will be our audio dramas, with some exclusive audio dramas dropping there as well, which is fantastic, which is a conversation at the end of July with the boys. But yeah, some back updating the 300 Bros storylines that we do have, which include Power Rangers Global, War for the Multiverse, which is a massive crossover between all our Power Rangers and Kamen Rider storylines, and then we've also got 3 Bros Amongst the Stars, which is our space exploration storyline, which chapter 1 I am needing to write because we've already done chapter 0. But yeah, so let's dive into some questions. I have some questions given to me, of course, by, we have, 2 from Billy, and then we've also got, which is pretty cool, we've also got some some questions from one from Willie, which is Cosplay Dude, and one from A-Crown, which I think is actually really cool. Let me just find them real quick. Cosplay Dude 67's question is, how did I come up with my storyline for The Walking Dead? So I have a storyline called Walking Dead, Brothers Bound, I believe it's called. And so basically, to tell the absolute truth, the Brothers Bound storyline is actually my own original storyline. I had this storyline, Hunter and Baz, and basically I wanted to make my own zombie story, because, you know, zombies are cool. I wanted to make my own lore, my own rules, and the original storyline of Hunter and Baz will be on Tiger Tales Mysterious Origins at some point, but I wanted to adapt them into Walking Dead. At the time, I was binge watching Walking Dead. I'm now up to date on Walking Dead. The only ones I haven't watched is the one they did on Amazon Prime, and then Fear the Walking Dead, which I do want to play catch up on. I think I'm going to start watching it again, because I only watched the first season. So, with the storyline, I wanted to adapt Hunter and Baz, these two characters I made up, in my own zombie fictional world, but put them in the Walking Dead universe. And at the time, Cosplay Dude was actually putting, like, everyone from the Zero to Hero Discord in storylines, you know, whether they were Rangers or, you know, whether they were, like, just in a part of something. So I wanted to do the same. So I came up with this idea called Human Town, which is an old abandoned town that gets renovated. And basically, I added everybody in it. So we've got like Jim and Billy from Zero to Hero. We've got Jared from If You Give Dad a Podcast. We have A-Crown, or Jonathan is his actual name. I've got Willie's kids. I've got Mark. I've got his daughter. I've got myself. I've got Nia. I've got Logan. We have Sam, who isn't with us anymore, you know, rest her soul. We've got Ben, you know, pardon me. We've got, Jacob, we've got Tony, we've just got everybody. Everyone's involved, and I wanted to do the same. So yeah, basically, it was just because I was on a Walking Dead high, basically, and I do really want to carry on writing that story now, because I'm watching, I'm up to date with the 3 sequel shows, Daryl Dixon, Dead City, and, The Ones Who Live, I think it's called. And I'm really enjoying them. They're actually better than the last couple seasons of The Walking Dead show, and I'm up to date on Dead City. Actually, no, I lie. As recording this, I do need to watch the, season finale of Dead City Season 2. And so, Jonathan, or A-Crown, gives me the question, if I had to pick one I prefer to write in, which one do I prefer, first person or third person? So obviously I have Tiger Tales, and Tiger Tales Game Over, and Tiger Tales Mysterious Origins, which are all in third person. Game Over does have some first-person storylines, and there is going to be a first-person storyline in Mysterious Origins, but then I have Tiger Tales Lost Stories, which are all in first-person perspective. The reason why they're separated is because I know so many people I've spoken to who love reading books, and some people can't read in first person, they struggle, and some people can't read in third person, they struggle. You know, some people can't imagine, you know, some people can't build a world in their head via reading first person. I completely get that. So I wanted to separate them. Writing in third person or first person, honestly, I prefer third. Only because I write my stories like it's a TV show or anime, like Mysterious Origins that hosts all my original storylines. The fight scenes I see as an anime. That's how I see them. They're big, they're dramatic, they're colourful, you know, they're over the top. You know, the characters are just stupidly powerful and things like this, and I see it as an anime. And honestly, I prefer writing in third person, because you can get more done in third person. You know, there's so much more you can do. You are limited to first person. So first person is, for those who don't know, just in case, first person is I'm doing this, I did this, I punched this person, I barked at this person, I cried, I smiled, where third person is, you know, Daniel punched Jared in the head, you know, Willie smiled, you know, Mark cried, for example. And so with first person, you're limited. So like, for example, let's say I'm writing a scene where you've got like a bunch of knights talking in a forest, and they're being watched by a witch. You know, let's just paint that image. With first person, you know, the first person perspective, that your main character is going to have to notice the witch or something. But when third person, you know, I can write the scene, and I can go, you know, in the distance without the knights knowing the witch was watching them, and you can add more stuff to a scene in third person. So that's kind of kind of why I like third person better. And then from Billy, of course, Billy likes to give us questions for solo episodes. He gave me 2 this time around. The first one is pretty interesting, actually. It states, well, he asks, have I ever written any storyline I knew nothing about, and then later on afterwards did it get me into said thing? Something if I haven't wrote anything about and then it got me into it, or did I check it out afterwards then? I kind of have to think now. I don't think so. Well, it's not on Tiger Tales, at least. There's nothing on Tiger Tales that I'm not a fan of first. Like, everything that I put up on Tiger Tales, I'm a huge fan of. There are storylines out there that Cosplay Dude's uploaded and, I've never watched or anything. Like, Sword Art Online, I've only watched a couple of episodes of, but he's got that, and things. So, in my time of writing stories, I've been writing stories since I was 7. I have, in the past, wrote a storyline based off, what was it again? There was something I did for school. I think maybe it was for school. Was it because of school that I wrote it? I cannot remember, but I did write a storyline. I'm about 10 or 11. I don't know if this counts, by the way, but I'm gonna do it. I did write a storyline which was based off the Norse mythology Norse mythology deity, god, I don't know how you want to label them, of Odin and his ravens. Now, I knew nothing about Odin or his ravens. The only thing I got told was he can see through their eyes. That's literally it. And I wrote a story of this old man, watching the world through these ravens, basically. And I believe I put it in a writing competition, which there's this group of writers that went around schools hosting writing competitions all across Powys, which is in Wales, by the way. And, I think I won like 4th or 3rd, something like that. I've entered a few writing competitions in my time. And because I knew nothing about Odin, by the way, or these ravens, and then that got me into Norse mythology. That's what, I love mythology. I love Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology. I love Japanese mythology, Chinese mythology. I love learning mythologies and stuff. So I don't know if that counts, but that's my answer. And then the second question from Billy is, if there's any toy lines that I want to get into that I'm not into yet, that I want to start collecting, because I am a collector. I'm a bit of a novice, a noob, I guess you could say. I think that my biggest collection is Funko Pops. I have a big wall of Funko Pops, which if you go to Tiger Entertainment Network, you guys can see that, and I will be showing it off on my Tiger Paws collectible channel at some point as well. I have got some Lightning collection, and I do have some McFarlane DC figures. I also collect like Blu-rays and PlayStation and Switch games and comic books. If there's anything I could get into, honestly, and this is going to be such a boring answer, but Marvel, man, I've got nothing Marvel related at all. I have zilch. I do have like fun little Marvel things. I have a big ass diorama figure of Doctor Strange, and I have these little magnet little figure dudes of Spider-Man, but I'm talking like Marvel Legends, I think they're called, like actual Marvel toys, like Marvel figures. And I don't know everything about Star Wars, but there are definitely a few Star Wars characters I really want. Definitely a few Star Wars characters I want in figure form. I would love Marvel stuff. I haven't got any Marvel figures at all, so it'd be really cool to get just some Marvel Legend characters. I love Spider-Man, so maybe start like a Spider-Man collection. Love the X-Men. I'm a huge fan of Marvel, so maybe some Marvel figures would definitely be kind of cool. Anyway, that's me done for this solo episode. I did say it'd be shorter, and it's round about half an hour anyhow. By the time I edit my intro and outro into this, it's gonna be over half an hour. So thank you guys for tuning into the solo episode. If you've heard me rambling this entire time, I thank you very much, and I apologize for your ears. And of course, if you want to hear more solo episodes, I have done a few times. If there's any questions out there for the solo episodes, leave them in the comments below in the YouTube channel of the Tiger Nexus podcast, and I'll make sure I add them into the next one. I'm always happy to take fan questions. Billy gives me questions to talk about, but of course, if anyone else has any questions, do let me know. Of course, if you listen to us on the podcast platforms, thank you very much. Don't forget to rate us and all that jazz, and of course, do leave some likes and subscribes on the Tiger Nexus podcast. Check out the Linktree, which is Linktree/TiTiger777. I couldn't have Tiger Entertainment Network, it was too long. Which hosts every single YouTube channel, podcast, and all that jazz. And it also shows off some other content that I've been in on other people's, accounts and stuff, the other podcasts I've been guests on, audio dramas I've narrated or voice acted for. So make sure you definitely check that out. And of course, with that, I do love you all. Thank you very much for tuning in. Roar of Passion, everybody. And I shall see you guys in the next one.
What you have just listened to is a product created by the Three Ranger Bros Studio.
Hosted by three cosplaying fathers who
happen to be massive geeks of all sorts of fandoms.
They are Mark, the Red Cornish Ranger,
Cosplay Dude 637,
and TiTiger.
The studio covers different types of YouTube videos, TikToks, podcasts, and live streams.
If you wish to find out who cosplays who, the YouTube channel, the TikTok accounts, and the podcasts, and all of the other social media platforms,
please go to the 3rangerbrostudios.com.